Pokemon are the perfect pets. Loyal, strong, and willing to protect. But why? I mean, they get captured into small balls, smaller than themselves, and more often than not, they're only allowed out to fight other Pokemon unconscious. Hey guys, it's sphamedia here, and today I think I've discovered the truth about Pokeballs and breeding centres. But to explain this, we have to look at a scientist from the real world, Harry Harlow. He was a fringe psychologist from America who pioneered the use of monkeys in psychological testing. He started with simple research into whether babies loved their mother because they provided food and survival, or whether they approached them for more affectionate needs, essentially proving the theory that a baby loves its mother. He proved that children chose affection over survival using two surrogate mothers, one made of cold chicken wire that was hard and unaffectionate, that may hurt the monkey, but provided milk, and another surrogate with a friendly face, wrapped in cloth, and was able to be held by the monkey. It was warm and soft, and it was used by the monkey for comfort. They found that the monkey spent about 23 hours of the day hugging into the cloth mother, and only spent around an hour with the food mother, made of chicken wire. This study was used to deter cold parental techniques that were adamant in the 50s. If this is where we left the story, then there wouldn't be much content for this theory, and it would be a much happier tale. But when Harlow divorced his wife, things got a little bit more Mendelian. Harlow fell into a pit of depression. He was no longer interested in researching love and improving the lives of children. He wanted to understand the feelings that he had over leaving his wife. With a grant, a lab and test subjects, some of the work that he's most famous for began. He started with antisocial monkeys, forcing them into parenthood with something that he called the rape rack. Then he tried to test the love of the cloth surrogate, where he would use metal spikes to hurt the young monkeys. This study showed that abused children would always return to the parent with love, regardless of the level of abuse that was shown. But he didn't stop there. When his second wife died, the torture became a lot more long term. His life unravelled into a bout of alcoholism and a series of shock therapy. When he returned to his work, he wanted to study the effects of true despair. He developed cages that created partial sensory deprivation. He would place newborn monkeys in these cages starting at 30 days, but escalating his torture to over a year. He then returned to the rape rack, and the mothers, devoid of social skills and proper brain development, would do horrible things to their young. Some ate the hands and feet off their newborn children, others would simply crush them to death, but none were fit to raise young. This wasn't enough, however. He developed the Pit of Despair, an upside down triangle based cage, similar to the first, but with no grips. The monkeys were left without the ability to move. Other than the signs of dystrophy, the second test showed no purpose that the first one didn't prove. But how does this connect to Pokemon? First, think of what the Pokeball is. It's a small round surface that deprives Pokemon of any senses. The constant movement from the trainer jolting the poor things around on this smooth surface, giving them no grip. The trainer being the only source of parental affection that the Pokemon would ever receive, making them an active surrogate, meaning that no matter how much the trainer would hurt the Pokemon, in battle or elsewhere, it would always be loyal. As the later studies showed, a creature deprived of its senses would become more vicious and more happy to hyper-fang its way through the hands and feet of other Pokemon, making it the perfect weapon. But not only that, have you ever thought about what goes on with your Pokemon during its time in the daycare centres breeding? It's funny how the caretaker knows so much about the emotions and relationships of your Pokemon. Perhaps not. Perhaps there's a poke rack in the back. But if we were to borrow from another theory, we could actually put a solid foundation in time on when this all happened. The Great Pokemon War. This theory states that before the first game, the Pokemon world was in a state of war. That's why no trainer seems to have a father, including you or your rival. It's also why the world's economy is strictly built around battling creatures, because whoever was fighting had called a ceasefire, but the two countries had been left in a state of cold war. This would explain why they're still training their young for war times, why Lieutenant Surge is a retired soldier, and why his gym is slightly military themed, rather than the scientific theme that electricity would lend itself towards. But how did they militarise their Pokemon? What if there was a Harlow style scientist in the Pokemon universe that saw great potential in the loyalty of Pokemon and their destructive abilities, potential in trainers becoming surrogates for these creatures, and understood that the abuse that war would cause no repercussions to these young people, even if the Pokemon were treated badly. He also found that these loving creatures would become bloodthirsty if deprived of their senses, But these aren't run-of-the-mill monkeys. We're talking about fire-breathing dragons and natural-born fighters. So he couldn't just use something similar to the Pit of Despair. Instead, he devises a small ball that would suppress the creature's powers, leaving their trainers as the only chance of freedom and affection. And the knowledge that this works better with newborn Pokemon would explain why there's daycarers that not only allow, but seem to understand the breeding habits of Pokemon, because during war times, they would have been used to develop these weapons. It's why they seem to be some of the oldest characters in Pokemon, and it would also explain their near 100% success rate. Now, do I think this theory is canon? No. But some of the dark Pokedex entries for the ghost Pokemon and some of the side stories that are found in libraries that exist in the Pokemon universe, I don't think it would be a push to call it a possibility. But thanks for watching my video, guys. Let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. Sorry about the long hiatus. I'm very grateful for your support during this time. It's been a bit rough. But I should be back to making weekly videos now, so don't forget to subscribe and like. Your support has been greatly appreciated, and I'll never forget how much some of you care about me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.